Next, we're going to add a couple more shops in who are doing some more unique things and just get their perspective, their take on what's been going on. We've got obviously Steven Farag back over at Campus Inc. We are having Max Hellmann over at Family Industries. He's over in Los Angeles. And then we are adding Justin Lawrence over in Oklahoma City. Just sent him an invite as well. So he can, he's joining perfectly. So I'm going to go around. I've got a couple questions I want to poke you that I've been collecting from everybody. I guess we'll start off with you, Justin. Tell us, what are your thoughts? I know things have been really, really difficult, but, what are your thoughts around everything going on right now? How are you dealing with it?
One cold pop at a time. That's first. So raise a glass. That's the first part of being self-employed. I don't know, man. I'm trying to. There's perks of, I would say, to take advantage geographically. Where you are. Thankfully, in Oklahoma, we're probably going to be last in line to see a lot of things roll out unless our president, declares a national emergency and shuts everybody down. But until then, I'm trying to communicate openly and transparently with my team. I'm trying to let them know that, hey guys, I'm scared, I'm uncertain, and I'm doing everything that I can to support you guys and fight for you guys. We had to make some hard decisions, which we can get into later. But I'm trying to just be here and trying to remind my team that I'm with them. And I don't know how we're going to look at the end of this, but we're gonna stay together while we do it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty there. Max at Family, you guys do what? Half live printing, half custom printing. You guys run a pretty big business there too. Live printing, that's an interesting space, especially right now.
Don't get into it right this second. Yeah, don't get into it. Just if you're gonna do it, set it up, but don't get into it. We saw inklings of the slowdown probably about 4 weeks ago. It started certain events still went. We had some up until this last weekend, but we had cancellations come in pretty much every day. I think we had something like 30 overall. Some postponements, things like that, and it definitely hit us. So it was one of those things where we had to really evaluate how we were going to move forward with everything. Especially in-house too, because we do a lot of event printing in-house as well. So the same thing happened where with Justin, we had to kind of evaluate our structure going forward and, save our cash flow for the long run, like you guys have already been talking about. So, we had to let some people go, and it was really, really hard.
Your next 30 days, you talk about the strategy that you're trying to take. Max, with you, what do you think the plan lays out? What are you watching for? What are you trying to do? What are you spending your time on?
So we cut back our staff quite a bit. Our plan is to listen to what California has to say. I'm anticipating that LA is going to do kind of a shutdown. Orange County just did, and Palm Springs just did. I think it's going to come at some point soon. But until then, we're kind of just taking things easy. We have our new facility that we want to move everything over to. That was originally supposed to happen by the end of the month. So we're going to kind of take it a little bit more slowly on that side and try to get over here when we can, clean up our old shop, but it's an ethical thing. How long do we let our employees work while this all goes on? I feel it's really tough.
You actually brought that up too, Justin, the ethical conversation of it, of keeping the people there when the news is telling everybody to stay at home. How do you evaluate that?
It's hard because, on one hand, I have, we have real data that's coming out, albeit right or wrong, saying how many cases are in Oklahoma. And I know that, the responsible thing for us to do is to social distance and to not put our employees at risk. And then you juxtapose that with, hey, you don't have any symptoms. Hey, you don't live with anybody who's immunocompromised. Hey, you want to work and you're willing. We had a cool, so at the beginning of this week, we sent our sales team and our art team home. Anybody that could work from home, do that. And I feel like to all of you, no matter what size shop you are, if you haven't made at least that concession yet, you have to start making concessions. The sooner you make concessions, like for us, like we had a round of layoffs yesterday. We made those concessions early because I thought that it would be merciful for those people to go, be able to go draw unemployment benefits. And the sooner that you're able to begin making concessions for your business, depending on where you are at risk-wise, you need to do that. I don't have the liberty of just closing the doors, like that. I would love to, I'm aggressively seeking money, so that I can do that for my team. I would love to shut the doors and say, hey guys, I'll see you in 3 weeks. Everyone's getting paid. And then we come back. But that, I don't think that that's going to happen. So we're just trying to responsibly navigate this. And it's kind of a waiting game. I'm either the work will dry up completely and I have some of my team that's on this stream right now. So I really want to be measured and careful with this, but, they're laughing at me. I want to make sure that, if we do have to shut down, that we can maintain and work is drying up. We had a 3-week window where we were booked pretty solid, 2.5, 3 weeks. And our work takes about 1.5 weeks to 2 to fill that pipeline. And so we've already noticed that drying up. And there will come a point where the government either says, hey, you guys have to shut down, or everyone will get so sick that we can't work, or there won't be any work, and I'll just have to tell people like I'm really, really sorry. I'm just trying to be really measured and making sure that looking at layoffs versus furloughs, team, I want to hold on to as much of my team as possible, because while there's some positions in our organization that are pretty simple to replace, there's some that might be easy to lay off today, but impossible to replace tomorrow. Ethically, I have a personal assistant. It makes it, and Tess is watching this right now, and she has to be thinking the same thing. Like, it makes a lot of sense that that's one of the first positions that I should lay off, because like I've been telling my team, like, hey, we're going to go back in time, right? We're going to go 3 years back in time. We're going to scale back and we evaluate. And I didn't need an assistant 3 years ago. But the challenging piece with that is the chemistry and the like how such a good fit she is for that position. If I were to lay her off today, she would be impossible to hire in 30 days, right? So you have to evaluate like your especially like upper leadership or your ride or dies or people that are with you. So I think some layoffs or furloughs can be pretty like, hey, this is what we're doing as a team, and then some you have to be very, very strategic with.
I think the other thing that we've started to do was, like, how do you start to decide who to cut? And I actually asked for volunteers first. And I said, hey, like, we're a family, we live with, we're around each other all the time. If you feel like you could stay home, we'll figure out something for you on the back half of this. And believe it or not, I got more team players to come and say, look, I'm okay. I'm not going to go hungry or broke. Like, I can last for a little bit of time. And, let this person work because they need it a little bit more than me. And that was, like, I've never had to ask my employees who doesn't want to get paid right now. But what we're finding is, like, the people that go home, they're just hanging out at home, so it wouldn't be crazy to ask for volunteers. Or, I'm thinking about a delayed bonus with them. If, for every week they take off unpaid, on the back half, I'll get them a couple days of paid vacation or something like that. But we've been seeing that our team is more like subservient and like trying to actually help each other. But I think what I learned from Justin was communicating with your team openly, honestly, regularly, and not keeping them in the dark.
And early.
And having conversations with individuals. And, I talked to a couple of my employees and I said, like, if you're willing to share, what's your financial situation? So I know, because like we're a family and I want to make sure that we are together through this as much as we possibly can. And my business partner, who is twice my age, has said, like, if it worst comes to worst, my home is open to some of you. And that's that's crazy, but as I've heard from elders, we're going to make it, we're going to rejoice 10x, whatever that is, but we just have to get through it. And asking your team for help does not make you a bad boss. Does not make you a bad boss whatsoever.
Did any of you guys have to take into consideration people who have kids? Because right now in LA, every single school is closed. Daycares are closed. I have kids. My business partner has kids. We have a few staff who have kids. And I know that's something that's going to be really, really hard. We just got the notice that schools were going to be closed until June. So nobody's even going to be going back to school. So it's like one partner is going to have to stay home. What are we going to do for daycare or school? So I know that's something else that we had to take into consideration. Healthcare, whatever it is, there's so many things that I think we as business owners have to take into consideration when you talk to the staff and be upfront and honest with them, and how you kind of go through who stays and who may have to go. It's so hard. It's the hardest thing we've had to do as a business, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys as well.
I think one of the eye-opening things, to echo a little bit of what Max said, is like, I had to decide about a week ago, and I haven't done this fully, but I'm having to swallow pride. And that's a hard thing for me. Like, it's a hard thing, especially when you built something that you take pride in, that like the community comes around and high fives you all the time. You win awards and you get to do shit. Like, at some point I think the more, and I'll speak this to all of you as leaders, like the more vulnerable you can be early, and you can show your team that you're confused and you're scared and you don't know what to do. I think that letting them in, showing them that you're suffering. So I lay off 8 or 7 people. And I also said, like, I'm not going to pay myself for 2 months. Right now, what that means to everybody as a business owner is a very different thing. But I know that, like, ethically and like integrity, and so I could kind of sleep at night, or try, that's a concession that I make. And so I think it's important as you lead, like we've heard all of these things growing up, like, lead by example and make sure you're on the front lines with your people. Like, you need to do that. You need to think about, like, if you're going to ask your production team to work, then you need to be at your business. You need to be with your crew. You need to be encouraging them. They need their leader, their captain, their whatever you want to call them. But you have to, this is going to hurt all of us. And shame on you, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner, if you're not making personal concessions first. I'm sure most of you are, because we're all like cut from the same cloth and we all care about people. But just make sure that you're swallowing your pride and you're doing everything that you can to sacrifice for your team. Steven just said he's out. I guess he couldn't. He's gone.
Couldn't make a session.
Hey guys, I'm sorry.
No, that's a really good point. Max, you brought that question up, which I think is something that a lot of folks have too. I guess, how did you you don't have to go into too much detail, but like, how did you evaluate that?
We had meetings,
process? Lots
of meetings. We talked to, the managers in the shop to see what we can do to make a buy. And it's not easy. We put our staff on unemployment because we know that they're paying into that. So the staff, that we knew that's going to be the best bet for them moving forward to make the money that they need to make. Because in California right now, there's reduced hour pay and there's also unemployment pay. So by putting them on that, as soon as we figured it out, we gave them the notice to file that, and it's going to be a shorter turnaround time. So either way, whoever we decided on, it was just something we had to go through one by one and say, this, we can do this person has to stay. There's a little bit of seniority that goes into it too. People have been with the company. It's weird because I'm sure a lot of you guys have started your businesses during the first recession, and I know a lot of people were there 2007, 2008, 2009, and we were all smaller businesses then. So now we're at a completely different point in time, where before you were a little bit smaller. Now you may have more employees, and you have to navigate this in a completely different way than when you're a small company, when you only had to worry about 1 or 2 people. There's no right answer here. It's kept me up at night. It's kept my business partner Alex up at night. It's kept other people up at night, and you feel that hole, that pit in your stomach that you just feel it dropping constantly. Ever since this has happened, like, I think all of us are kind of on the same page, where it's just like, it's a bad dream. You wake up and you're like, man, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Steven, when you were evaluating, you had to also go through a couple tough aspects. How did you evaluate those pieces too, like Max brought up, or roles that were more crucial? Was it thinking about, okay, when we were small, here's how we have to get down to? Or,
Yeah,
I know
I mean,
artwork has been a big thing that you've done with Graphic Source too.
right. Like we outsourced our art department, and that's helped us a little bit and stuff. But more importantly, like cutting out all extra costs. We basically are like, okay, what runs our company? Printavo runs our company, so we can't get rid of that. But really, it was like, our email campaign tool. I spent a pretty penny on like a really nice tool, and I was like, let me just suspend that for a month. And I kind of went down the line and was like essentials, non-essentials. I think I splurge on some things, and I kind of went through and I was like, okay, I can cut that. Okay, I can cut that. Okay, I can cut that. I went through every like credit card and figured out anything I was subscribed to and just started kind of axing them because they do add up. And if that's like one more employee I can keep, for me not to have, the coolest Shopify app for a month, that's okay. But then the other thing I did is after whittling that all down, I basically made a number that was like, here's what my business costs every day to stay afloat with zero revenue. And that's what I'm just going to be kind of burning like an ante into the pot. And I need that burn to be as slow as possible. Let's take it over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And let's like figure out what that number is. Because when, we were at 2 Auto Shop, we've got like 15 employees. Your burn is pretty high every day. It could be anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 a day just to stay open. And so I'm like, what do I need to bring that down to $300 a day? That's kind of what I've been doing every day. And it's sad. It sucks. But when we come back, I'm going to be so much more frugal. I'm going to be so much smarter because I'm just seeing this all because it's like a forced hand a little bit. I'm sure, Justin, you've been doing that too. And, because we have some fun. We try to run fun businesses. We try to splurge a little bit. We all like to. And I think the industry, everything was riding super high. So, I look at it as a little bit of a course correction and a lesson rather than, the world ending, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. As we come towards the end here, any last thoughts, Max, on your end? I guess we'll go around to everybody if they have any last thoughts. Just it could be anything business related, personal related, anything to share that you found to help, things like that.
I mean, just it's things like this. We've reached out to a ton of other shop owners and just kind of checked in with them and see how they're doing across the board and think of ways that you can maybe collaborate if that's possible. I don't know how that looks or how that works. Really keep an eye on your cash flow. It like Steven was just saying, like if you are able to find out what your expenses are per month and maybe take some of those off the books and minimize it during this time, because we don't know how long this is going to go. So you want to make sure that you have enough to run for a bit of time. And then, like it's the ethical thing, just keep up with what's going on. And, if people need to go home and they need to stay in for 2 weeks, don't fight it. Just, we all gotta be in this together. I think that's all it comes down to. I just saw an article that a 34-year-old passed away in Glendora, which is about 20 miles from where we are. He was in Disney World and he came back. So it's like, we're not immune to the coronavirus. Some people may get it, you may not get it, but just be careful. Be careful out there in general.
Yeah, I think I'd say like support one another in our industry. If we all go and ask Bruce for free Printavo, well, you guys aren't going to have a company anymore to support us. And I'm serious, like as blunt as I can possibly be. I'll cancel something outside of our industry before inside. I got my Oklahoma shirt company lucky shirt right there. Don't cancel it. I can't cancel it. But seriously, if my business shuts down for a month and I'm able to shut my doors, I might get a job and contract it out to Justin if I know his shop is open, because that can help him out if we're good. So those smaller shops out there that are able to kind of shut their doors, it's okay to job a couple jobs out and send them to some bigger contract shops because we do rely on them. and like they're hurting, they could be hurting even worse than us when we only have a couple employees. So, that's not a crazy thing to do, is to close down for a little bit and sub out your jobs. Mike Chong can give you a lesson about that if you need it. But we should support one another completely during this time. And if that means, one of my employees could go help another shop out, so be it. Do the right thing and things will be okay. So, Justin, closing words.
I have 4 quick things. First of all, like, it's your responsibility as a business owner and as a leader to communicate to your team what's going on. There's a good amount of people that work for me that I think they just come to work, they put their heads down, they do it, but they're not aware of like how dire the things are outside of this place. So make sure that you're telling your team to prepare and to protect their family and to fend for themselves and to get ready. Because you know what, like if this doesn't get as big as everyone thinks that it is, then awesome. But if it does, like, you sure would want your team to be prepared. I believe that's your responsibility as a leader and as a business owner. I also want to encourage you, like, lean into your team locally, like, because at the end of this, whoever you're able to navigate through with this, man, you're going to come through so much stronger. I've been so impressed by my team, even the people that like I had to lay off. Like, I was getting messages still today, like, you're the best boss we've ever had. Like, we get it. Like, we understand. Like, don't miss out on the community and the strength that you have in the people that already are your ride or dies. I would say to like all of you, like, lean into the network, like lean into these people. There's 514 people that are watching this right now. And they're people who give a damn, and they're people who make, and they're people who are entrepreneurs. And so make sure that you don't just sit back idly. It's what I want to do. I'll confess, as a business owner, I want to shut my door. I want to not get out of bed. I want to just shut the world out. But that's what we can't do. And we have to show up for one another. And then lastly, like, the coolest thing we can do right now is most of us, if not all of us, are artists. So, the world is looking to us right now. So sing, paint, create, make, get out, live your life, like, and take what you do and put it on this platform that we all have such easy access to. And because we can support each other, and damn it, man, everybody needs a little bit of extra joy and love and just art and goodness in their lives right now. So please do that. If you're scared to paint, who cares, man? Just do it and put it on Instagram Live and paint something. It's just, there's so much we can do to brighten each other's day. And Bruce, thank you for leveraging your resources. If any of you can't afford your Printavo subscription for a month or two, please don't ask him. Call me, ask me. I'll pay your subscription. Like, because without those fees to support Printavo, then we can't do shit like this. There's not one champion in this industry right now that's doing as much for us as the collective small team that Bruce has put together. And we can't work without you. I know Max and Steven can't work without you. So thank you for what you're doing, Bruce. And man, I can't say thanks enough. Your whole team.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I know
thanks to Luke too for that blog. I think everybody's going to take
crushed
that.
it.
Yes.
Luke, you're awesome.
Use that information. It's incredible. So just every resource.
Put ISS Long Beach on the map for 2021. Justin will work on a new Mark McGrath, Sublime, and we'll have some fun. Thanks, everybody.
You guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. Really, really appreciate it. We're going to revise and see if there's any updates and to put together for next week. Thank you guys for joining us, Justin, Max, and Steven.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Cheers, guys.
And for the tips. Everybody who's joined, 500 plus, that's been absolutely incredible. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to keep updating that document that Luke put together as a survival guide, as so many things change daily. So that's going to be a living document. Really, really appreciate it. We will put this recorded video up on YouTube. Start uploading it now. So again, thank you guys. We're going to make it through. We're going to do this together.